blacked out cars, talking like they own the stars, smiling for the camera flash, hands in your pocket, counting cash. Trust us this time, they'll stay. Same old trick in a brand new script. Waving papers, selling hope. Fine print line is a velvet rope. Blue suits, black hearts, saying we feel your pain from the country club bar. Big speed, fake tears. Every 4 years they remember we're here. They're saving the world on a t-shirt sign while they're sipping that vintage red on your dime. Blue suits, black hearts, they love the power more than the people they mark. Every problem, they've got plans. Step 1, take more from your hands. Step 2, pick a team to blame. Step 3, walk off with the game. Talking justice, talking care, till you ask, hey, why's my street bare? They built mansions on those dreams, then called you cruel when you asked what it meant. Blue suits, black hearts, saying we feel your pain from the country club bar. Big speed, fake tears. Every 4 years they remember we're here. They're saving the world on a t-shirt sign while they're sipping that vintage red on your dime. Blue suits, black hearts, they love the power more than the people they mark. Raise your hand if you're tired of the show. Same old play in a thrift store coat. They talk like saints, vote like sharks, writing your life with invisible marks. Blue suits, black hearts, saying we feel your pain from the country club bar. Big speed, fake tears. Every 4 years they remember we're here. They're saving the world on a t-shirt sign while they're sipping that vintage red on your dime. Blue suits, black hearts, yeah. The mask falls off when the cameras go dark. Blue suits, black hearts, we're ducking pops.
And we're going to do take 2 tonight. Scott, we're going to have to log on and log back off because Facebook isn't hooked up.
Well, let's see if I can hook it up while we're going. All right, you should be good to go on Facebook.
Let's find out, everybody.
Well, welcome to California Free Radio. While Mike sits there and dinks around on his phone and figures out how to do Facebook.
Doesn't look like we are hooked up, brother. Whoops. Now we are. So hi, everybody. Welcome to California Free Radio. I'm going to check with our sharing team. It's not a conspiracy theory, but it's very strange it happens after election night. So, gentlemen.
Mike, you sound like a liberal. You're sharing.
Oh, come on. He's just a nice guy who just went offline. So we've got a lot of cool election results for everybody tonight. Is everybody excited about how the election is going so far? Kurt, what do you think?
Why do you say so far, Scott? Are you thinking that the Democrats are going to keep putting fake ballots in for weeks in California?
Well, there is that, although, frankly, what I was thinking more along the lines of is that we've gone through the primary and the Republicans have done very, very well in the primary in California, which is unusual. And I'm looking forward to the general, which is when we actually get elected. So, yes, so far, meaning the primary, and now we have to go on to the general. How long ago was it that Republicans on the 8 statewide offices that we had, none of them made it to November. You had 2 Dems for practically every office. And basically, Republicans were shut out. We've got contenders in every single office, including going after incumbent Rob Bonta, the pretend wannabe attorney general, whose only claim to fame is suing Donald Trump. So, anyway, are you back, Mike? Are you like
I was
seriously?
back. I'm going to do some quick stuff so everybody can see the show. I'm going to go off camera for 1 second here. We had a little bit of a restream problem. Gentlemen, take it from here. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, Scott. The thing that upsets me the most about the election is Gavin Newsom's executive order claiming that they're not going to check the match of signatures for mail-in ballots. What do you think of that?
I have witnessed, been a volunteer and gone down to the registrar of voters and witnessed them opening up the absentee ballots after Election Day. And everybody has to know this is California, so we don't have an election day, we have an election month. And even though the election day was on June 2nd, it will take them 30 days to count all of the absentee ballots that are either in their hands today or coming in over the next week or so. They're allowed to accept, I think they changed the timing. It was 7 days after the election they can accept mail, but because the USPS says that they're not going to be able to deliver or guarantee they'll deliver in 7 days, I believe California has extended that. But basically, it's going to take them 30 days to count the ballots. And that's because everybody and their brother, dead or alive, got an absent ballot mailed to them. So I've watched and witnessed these guys, and I would sit there and challenge them because the signature didn't even come close to matching. And basically, they'd put it in the challenge pile. And then what would happen is, who's making noise out there? What would happen is the registrar would basically approve every single stinking one. He didn't reject one signature as being invalid, even though clearly it was not the same, although I have to admit, I think the state purposely puts crappy signature pads in the DMV, and they automatically re-register you every time you have to go to the DMV to get your license renewed.
No, you can check a box, do not re-register me.
I know. I went to the DMV and did that, checked the box, and they still tried to re-register me. And they said, okay, here, sign this. I go, no, you re-registered me. I don't want to be re-registered. Oh, excuse me. He does it again, prints it out, and he still re-registered me. So either they're morons, they're evil, or the system sucks. Oh, wait, it may be all of the above. But the signature pad that you sign is like worn out and crappy. It's like 100 DPI instead of like 1,000 DPI. It is terrible. You try and have a decent signature and you can't do one. So I think that's part of the reason why they do such a crappy job.
I think it's intentional, Scott. They want to cheat.
Absolutely. They're not replacing those pads even though they're crappy. So,
Democrats are trying to cheat in every election because they know they have nothing to offer the American people or Californians, and that no one will vote for them if elections are fair and they campaign on what they really want to do. And maybe later in the show we can talk about some of the incredible nut jobs that we're running all over the country as Democrats, some of which got bounced out, some of which are continuing on to November.
Yeah, it's disgusting. But the good news in California is we've got a lot of Republicans that are making it into the general, so we have a chance to vote on it. The bad news is that they're estimating that only about 2/3 of the votes have already been counted. So this extra month that it takes to count, that's when all the Democrats send in their fake ballots and cheat. Is another third of the votes that will end up counting towards the final election. Now, I think all of our guys, all of our Republicans, are very, very safe in that they'll make the top 2, even though, for instance, Steve Hilton is number 1. I suspect he's going to flip over to number 2 as the Democrat votes get counted. And there is some credibility. Democrats were holding their ballots till the end so that they could see which Democratic candidate rose to the top for governor, for fear of getting two Republicans in the runoff. And so they all wanted to coalesce around whoever was leading. And so they waited to the end just to look at the polls to see how they were going to cast their votes. So Dem votes are coming in heavier than even normal cheating times. Right,
So
Mike?
I've got a question for Mike. Do you think that either Spencer Pratt in Los Angeles for the mayor's race or Steve Hilton could fall behind because of fake ballots over the next week?
No, I don't. And let me say something right now. There indeed is a lot wrong with our election system. But now that we're back online and I'm back on the air, let me start off with a shout out for everybody. This includes some of the bizarre Democrats and some of the Republicans for running for office. And be aware it's the beginning of a journey. And let me start with that. To answer your question, Kurt, mathematically, okay, I think Hilton is safe, and it doesn't matter if you finish 1 or 2 at this point. Spencer Pratt will be in a runoff against Bass.
Yay.
And most important, Senate 22, Mike Netter advanced, which is a really big thing. And there's a lot of candidates out there, kind of my race included a bit, that aren't getting a lot of pub because we tend to focus. That's one of the things we're going to focus on tonight. But since I missed the show opening, let me go into where to find this information and what this information means if you want to keep your eye on it. So that's not your main job out there. Our main job is to do a little bit of celebration for a few days on the primary and whoopee-doo, make sure that we win in November. And I'm going to go into this show streaming on my X channel at Netter Mike, on Scott at TaxFighter7, on YouTube, on Rumble, but Scott's Connections down, on LinkedIn, on at Mike Netter, on all the Facebook groups. Thanks, Stephanie. Okay, it's important to note, really important to note, okay, that what we're doing, we have to get the word out about our candidates. To Scott's point, we have an amazing run right now. But, gentlemen, and Kurt, if you say one thing, I'm going to have Scott take you off the air. I'm a Padre fan, and I'm a Charger fan, and we've made it deep into the playoffs before, only to get our butts kicked. It doesn't matter, yes, like the Dodgers, Kurt, unless you win it.
We're both Chargers fans, Mike. I've been a Charger fan since Dan Fouts refused to join the Players
I've been
Union
before
in
that.
1981.
I hate to one up you, but neither here nor there. The objective is to win the Super Bowl. Win, in this case, in November. And we get off. I want to go into what the Secretary of State portal means. There's ineptness. There's evil. There is a lot wrong with the California election system, but the scoreboard is what you can do to propel the momentum that we have. The term too big to rig has been passed around a lot. And Kurt, to answer your question, I think these vote totals are a little bit too big to rig. Now, if you go into the Secretary of State website, all right, you will see, of course, the election updates as they come in from the counties. You will see things like Spencer Pratt and Bass. You will see them on the individual county websites. But one of the important things, if you want to keep your eye to it, here's a trivia question for my two co-hosts, one who also had the guts to run for state assembly last time. And if you haven't gathered, neither Scott or I are the brightest bricks in the pile because we ran for office and we continue the fight, and we're going to. Gentlemen, what is one of the most important portals that's opening in probably literally about a week from now to keep your eye on?
Not college football transfers, I assume.
No, and the Secretary of State trying to stay good shot, Kurt, but let's try to stay within the subject matter.
Well, it's important to our audience understands which one you're talking about.
Unprocessed ballots. So to keep your eye on what's going on, how you think these races are trending. And here's a shocker for everybody. Gentlemen, don't fall over on me. You can't trust the mainstream press. Shocking but true. So, with the mainstream press feeds about Democrats or the ballots late, number of ballots coming in, the good news, bad news about machines, a lot of the time, if you will, is they do allow this unprocessed ballots by county. And that's what gets used for 31, 32, 36 days. I'm not saying it's right. It's not my job to judge. When I get into the state Senate, we are going to be doing things to change that. But I want to make this an action show. I was at Steve Hilton's soiree, if you will, on Tuesday night, as many of you saw. We have energy, we have momentum, we have a movement, as I was quoted in a couple articles. We need to take advantage of that movement. But many of you out there, and I admit with me, it's a bit of an obsession. I check the portal. What I'll be checking the portal for are what's called unprocessed ballots. Okay, unprocessed ballots shows the number of ballots that are in the system, whether they're by mail, and there's a code to check it, or however they got here from there. Okay, and you could see by county, and as that figure dwindles down, you will see those vote totals change. The counties like Los Angeles already have that unprocessed ballot on there. That is by county on the state website. That's how you kind of keep track of the so-called sleight of hand. And when I talked to Scott earlier today, I want you to think of it like a card game, Kurt. Okay? Where we know the guy at the table is cheating, we just can't catch him. But then you see 5 aces, and there's only 4 in a deck, for those of you not familiar, fall out of this sleeve, and he's going to run for the hills in the Old West because they're going to be chasing him. We see those aces falling out of their sleeve, their unprocessed ballots, okay? Because they could do everything we could talk about that we can't control, but the number of ballots that come in have to go into the system. Gentlemen, I'm going to let you take a breath while you ask me questions on that, because I really want to stress that.
That's a great point to help our audience understand the count and how it may change, because obviously, if there's uncounted ballots in Los Angeles County, that's going to probably have a different result than if they're uncounted ballots in, say, Shasta County.
Correct. And a way to take a look at it, and I don't want to turn this into an election stats program, but everybody out there, and we have viewers, let me make this make sense for you. If you look at I'm going to pick on my district as an example. I'm very happy with my performance in a primary. It's my first time running. It is, I'm doing this with very little money, and what's called, hi, Mr. Jansen, how are you doing? Cheating does take place. We have to pay attention to them. And Derek, I know it's a shock to you. Yes, it's taking place. But let me tell you again how you could take a look at it. And Derek and Parvin, listen very carefully to what I'm saying. When you look at the registration, which you can see online or various, even the PDI or optics, it's published in the Secretary of State. I'm going to use my district as an example. There is about a 27% registered Republicans, actually about 24 registered Republicans in my district. And people like to say, going in for idiots like me, that means, yes, I'm 40, 50 points behind, and we have independents. Let me keep this simple. When you look at the unprocessed ballots, if you just say, wonder how many of them are Democrat, if you're looking at a district, for those of you like Derek, for example, that have run for office, and you multiply them about by the number of Democrats percentage that's the share and where you're running, or the district you're keeping track on, okay, that's going to give you a good approximation, which means about, for those of you keeping track at home, of about what those mix of ballots is coming in. So if we're going to catch them cheating, you want to look for that big jump. If a Democrats have, for example, a 60% share and the incoming vote of Democrats jump by 80%, that's something to take a look at. But generally, they keep their aces under their sleeve, and that's what you want to take a look at. You also want to take a look if the unprocessed ballots should be going down. You're going to see jumps in them starting the next week as again more mail, etc. Again, until we get more of us elected, we need to change the system. But for example, my share, which I'm proud of, I have 24% registered Republicans, heavy blue district. You say, what about the independents? They'll split about the same as Democrat versus Republican. And I have about a 40% share right now of the vote. Rah, rah,
Yeah, we've got,
sis, boomba. Okay,
we
that's
have it on the screen right now. You got
right. And as you can
latest
see,
count 38% for you and 58% for the incumbent.
right. So as an example, I've dropped a couple points since election day. That's to be expected. Okay. And the incumbent was trending below, okay, the registration share, and she's trending a bit up. If you're looking at a district and you see some big abnormality, like for example, they probably won't cheat in mine. It's myself and Rubio going to the finals, so they don't need to. But if I see a huge spike, and if they saw a big spike of Republicans, I would say something is weird compared to that. So that's how you kind of track overall what's going on. And Kurt, the signatures and how they process them and all the expletive deleted that's going on. Again, Scott, great point earlier. It could be inept or evil at the DMV. And by the way, for those of you that have children, which is the three of us on the show, none of them, not a single one of them, ever in the history of time, went through college and came to their parents and said, thanks for sending me to engineering school, teaching school, math school. But you know what, mom and dad? My lifelong dream has been to go work at the DMV. And that's
Yes,
where I'm
no,
going.
no one has ever said that, Mike.
Right. Or work for the Board of Registers. So you're going to have a lot of ineptness built in. There's idiocy and there's evil. And it really doesn't matter which one it is. There's a lot wrong with the system. But
But
tonight,
Mike, I got to tell you, I ran into a competent, friendly DMV worker recently when I had to go to the sad place. But she was very old and probably near retirement.
and Kurt, I have DMVs. And by the way, for anybody out there, my running joke is if there is ever, God forbid, a terrorist attack in any city that you're in, run to the DMV. It's probably the safest because I'm sure that's where they get their false IDs to even get in our country. And that's a story, a whole other show we could do at some point. Yes, it is available. It should be available. Scott's asking a host question here to watch on Tax Fighter. I can't see it. Do you want me to check it out, my good friend? You could
No.
say yes.
No, it's definitely available. The point is that some people were asking, can we refer people to this? Can we watch this again? Yes, this stays on at Tax Fighter 7 or Netter Mike on X. You can watch it anytime.
And you can go to YouTube where we house it and spread it. And I really do want you to spread this. And I want to talk about something that is really important for November, for me to win, for Hilton to win. And before I even get started, my rant, it's amazing what we've done. Gloria Romero, Herb Morgan. We not only are in the running to Scott's opening point, we have strong candidates in our round. Sonia Shaw is kicking posterior, and we're already complaining. I know she didn't get the 50%, but she's the leader. Remember, how many state offices have we had, gentlemen, of the 8 the last 20 years?
0.
Correct.
I think Schwarzenegger was the last time a Republican held a statewide office.
Boom. 0, 0, 0. They have had a supermajority since then. And for anybody who is interested, okay, you can DM me on X, and I may even have a conversation with you. Yes, you heard correctly, as to how to dive into the election system and keep your eye on it. But here's the reality, the hardcore reality. The Democrats, yes, that's probably true, but it's amazing to believe. Never mind. What is, it's too much material. What I need you to really understand, the Democrats stand for the party against stuff. 100%. Whatever Trump does, they're against. Whatever is, they're against. They're against, they're against, they're against, they're against. They protest. We're supposed to be the party of getting things done. And I want to spend our time in this show talking about what you need to get done. And thank you, Stephanie. Yes, on Facebook, Rebuild California. It's easy show to find. You can download it. We're giving you some really good information. I have a team. Stephanie is amazing. I want to give her a shout out every week. And that's an example of something we've done. Hold on one second, gents. I'm going to sneeze.
So
Well, during that interim, Scott, we should throw another topic on the table, and that's that Trump is imposing new postal rules since the Senate won't pass the SAVE Act. Do you think those postal rules will have any impact on the election that is meaningful?
Well, you're able to take the post office, even as inept and as behind of the private entities like UPS or FedEx are. USPS can track packages. And so President Trump has put an executive order out basically saying that if a state's going to mail a ballot, they have to provide the voter's name and their address so that USPS can track the ballots, make sure that they don't get lost. And then likewise, when they get returned, USPS can track the ballots, which is a reasonable request. And it's a rule.
I think it's an order, not a request.
Well, let me jump back to a really important point. Kurt, Scott, have any of you had a conversation the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, directly with either the Postmaster General or Donald Trump about this? And I know the answer is no. Okay.
No.
So here's what I want you to get out of the beginning of this show. And for everybody out there who's for Chad Bianco, I love you, you're Republicans. But I want to be really clear, in my opinion, why Chad, who got a decent number of votes, was not as competitive as he could be. That's because a lot of people, and I get the Farah and the whatever, spent a lot of time trying to beat up on the Hilton people. And Chad, I love you too, brother, but you've got to spend everyone more time recruiting more people. We did that in the Hilton group on Facebook. We did that when we ran the recall. We went out and got signatures and recruited people. And that's what you need to continue to do. The other side, the Democrats, have a built-in recruiting mechanism called the unions. I get it. It's wrong. But we can't fix that till we get more of us in office. We have a recruiting mechanism called social media, getting your neighbor to vote and vote Republican, because I'm not even going to go over the turnout numbers by county, because if we're really lucky, maybe 30% of the voters even bothered to vote. And Republicans' good news is.
So I want to elaborate a little bit on that, Mike. One of the things that Spencer Pratt's campaign showed, besides the fact it's really fun, the way that he has mocked and made fun of Karen Basura, because she is inept. She cannot run the city of LA. And even the Democrats in LA, which is the largest concentration of Democrats in the state, are voting Republican. And so just like you were pointing out in your district, you had 38% of the vote, even though Republicans only make up about 27, 26% or less. Uh, you know, what you're seeing is you're seeing NPPs, no party preference, or Democrats coming over and voting for Republicans because Democrats cannot, shall they, the old saying goes, cannot make the trains run on time. And so it Steve Hilton can't win without Democrat votes. And Spencer Pratt really can't win without Democrat votes. But the good thing is both of them are very good at showing the ineptitude of Newsom, the ineptitude of Karen Basura. Face it, Becerra is the former AG. His former chief of staff is done a plea deal in order to avoid prison. We don't know what Becerra knew about it. They're slimy. They're inept. Becerra is going to be a continuation of Newsom. Who wants Newsom's, administration continued one more freaking year?
And
Well,
I want
and
to jump
Scott,
in.
he's dumb as a rock. But
Hold on. I want
Dumb,
to jump
dumb,
in on a
dumb.
couple comments here. Charlie, you're right. We have to stop this. We need leadership. Stop the circular firing squad. Magalina, you too, who's been doing this with me, grinding out every week, sharing on her show. It's like religion. We need to do that because here's really the scary part about what you said, Scott, is the fact that there are five. How many votes does Hilton have? He's got about 1.4 million. Somebody check me here, right?
I'll check you right now. Hilton is about 1.53 million.
Okay, how many votes did Chad Bianco have?
Chad Bianco was behind Steyer. Chad Bianco had, let me see if I can find it. There's 62 candidates I have to thumb through to find Chad. So hold on a second.
Oh, you can't sort it by number of votes.
It's a long story. The site's not doing that right.
11.1%. He had 628,000.
Okay,
so
so let me make
combined,
it.
there's 2.1.
Hold on.
2.
Here's the important part to really understand why I had Scott look that up. There's really two major Republicans, and God bless the Daniel Mercury's and the other people and the Leo Zackies who run. Takes a lot to do that. Let's just say together, all of you gathered to another 500,000. That meant the Republican turnout was about 40%. Okay, and I'm being very optimistic when I say that. Good. We punched
You mean
above our weight.
conservative? Conservative. You think more than 40% turned out?
No, I'm just saying that's about the people registered as Republicans that turned out. And I'm being very conservative when I say that because neither here nor there. Here's my point. For your to-do item here, okay, whatever you could do watching this show, if you're a Democrat, too bad for you. But if you are a Republican or a conservative, you have to continually share these candidates that are making it to November everywhere that you can. Magalina, God bless you. Radio every week. Charlie, you're right. We spend more time. And Charlie has a very important point I want to dwell on here. That circular firing squad is exactly, sorry, Chad, why you got fewer votes. Because the reality is, and I put out a thing on this on the Facebook group, Linda, thank you. You may have voted NPP, but your vote still counts. All right. So I'm assuming you're voting with the conservative values. I don't care what party you're with, but vote for our side is my point. And my point back to this is Chad people got sucked into the thing of trying to ping on the Hilton people instead of recruiting more people to vote for Chad. We need a bigger pool of people voting for our side throughout the ballot. And it's really that simple. And great. We made it. We made it through the first round of the playoffs. But like my Padres, I don't give a rodent's posterior because it's about winning in November. And we've had some, I mean, we're going to go over some results tonight, but I really want you to take this away. There, with this top two wacky system we have, there is almost no office, including, by the way, state Senate too, where there hasn't been a Republican candidate. Assembly, there's not been a Republican candidate on the November ballot. Many of these cycles, there is one now. So there's an option, which I recommend, of course, you take me, but neither here nor there. Every office, there is an option, like there should be, but it doesn't matter. Gloria Romero, God bless her. And we had her on our show, I think, last week, and it's pretty stressful wondering this massive pool, and she's at the top of the pile for lieutenant governor. If Gloria was on the show right now, if Steve was on the show, we'll have Gloria back on, we'll have Steve on at some point. They don't give a damn unless they win. And they're going to win with your help. It's sharing on an X, sharing on Facebook. It's sharing the show. It's simple things that you can do. Yes, go door to door. Yes, make phone calls. But we got another 5.5 months. And so it's marketing recognition. And if you think I'm wrong, let me, and I've had this conversation much of the time, you know who Trump's biggest ally outside of Trump himself was the 4 years he wasn't president? Kurt, who do you think it was?
The first 4 years?
No, the second 4 years where he wasn't in office. Who do you think Trump's biggest ally was?
Probably his Truth Social posts.
Actually not. It was the mainstream press. Because the mainstream press thought they were sticking it to him by repeating his name every day. Trump, 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 Trump. And we're going to talk about Trump going to jail. And we're going to talk about Trump this, and Trump's a crook, and Trump's a predator, and Trump's this. And now back to our a riot, a soccer match in Brazil. And oh, look, somebody blew up Russia. Now back to our regular programming. Trump, 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 Trump. The undecided. Any of us were going to vote for Trump no matter what. The Democrats were going to vote against Trump no matter what. It's the undecided that decide an election, what I call the party of apathy. And our job for California is to act in its netter, Hilton, repeat over and over again. Right now, when somebody asks you you're going on vacation for the summer, where you seen, even if you're not lie, a Hilton hotel. It sounds weird and funny to you, but it's name recognition. It's getting those people that vote to make sure they check by name recognition. And the left has a big head start in us in California because they've had, quote, the bully pulpit. Newsom is in the news every day because he can be. Our job is to get the word out. That little Facebook group I started for Steve Hilton, getting 4 million views a month, it helps. It's not the reason he's winning, but it sure as hell helps. And all of you out there, you see the candidates once this settles in. Don't get to, Charlie, to your point, in the circular firing squad. What I want you to do is start shooting rubber bullets for all these people right now. Look, you can say whatever you want. And by the way, God bless Pratt. Really, only a small portion of the people watching this show actually live in the city of Los Angeles. So get your friends in Los Angeles to vote for Pratt. Everywhere else you go, pay attention. You have, my district covers 1 million people. Okay? So find somebody in District 22. Get them to vote for Netter. Slogan, Netter for a better California. It's easy to remember. Okay? Just continually pound over the next 5. Gloria Romero is easy to remember. Okay? Swadwell was so easy to remember. He got how many votes, Scott? 35,000?
20,000.
Now think
20,000.
about that. 20,000.
I wonder if it was his dad or girlfriend.
Well, think about that. Where would you have had to have been living to not know, even though he was on the ballot, he wasn't an official candidate? Now, when many of you that's 20,000, Hilton got 1.5 million. Those 20,000 that voted for Swadwell also were 20,000 people that were stupid enough that may have affected another race because they voted and they voted badly. So I love that hat. I've got to get one of those. Okay. Send me that meme. I love that. That's going to be up there. This is what I'm going to stress over and over and over again. If you really want to go deep, we'll go deep with you. But if you want to do something in these 5 months, what you have to do is keep spreading the word. And again, what's the Facebook group? Facebook trick, I tell you, gentlemen, over and over again.
I give up what?
Which one?
Again, you have someone running for state assembly, and they're running for state assembly in Sacramento, and they're a conservative. Go to Facebook. Look up Stockton, Sacramento in the same assembly district. Look at the groups. And every city, everywhere, every city, every town, every area has one. Okay. And yes, I agree with you, Charlie. Too many Republicans attached to Republicans. What I'm telling you right now is how to attack the Democrats and the party of the undecided. And you're going to attack that party of the undecided by going for your candidates, knowing the area they're running. Just go to the Facebook search bar. It's free. Find a city, a public group, and start plopping every once in a while your candidate's tile or name in there. It will get them votes. And it's funny what Charlie's saying, because Republicans seem no problem with the most obnoxious things at Republicans in public, but they sure as hell seem so afraid to go on social media or just go to a mall and do something. Just get the word out. The press has made it so there's the Democrats, the people that hate Trump, there's a whatever. Oh my God, I get yelled at by a liberal. It's the party of apathy, those that didn't vote. And every damn time, the Republicans that don't vote, the dumb posterior Democrats that vote wrong, the people that don't know what's going on, until something bubbles to the top and they've had enough. And this may be the cycle where those people have had enough. But remember, many of them have not really seriously voted for 5 to 10 years. Huh? That's right. Just because many people turn in a ballot doesn't mean they voted on 100% of their ballot. I got a lot of calls on judges, a lot of email, very few emails and texts on who to vote for state assembly, who to vote for state senate, who to vote for controller. Well, we have multiple candidates. Okay. Exactly, Linda, what we did during the recall. We are a movement of conservatism led right now by Steve Hilton. And below that, just as we had tents and booths and stuff all up and down the state with very little money during the recall and got it on the ballot, we can use that same methodology to get some of our candidates to win. And yes, they're going to cheat. They're going to crawl. They're going to do everything that they can. Hold on one second here. Well, Tiffany, I see what you're saying. You're going to get kicked out. That's fine. They're going to yell and they're going to kick you out and they're going to report you. And Tiffany, I realize you're saying, who cares? But so many people are so sensitive about that. Don't be. It's really funny. And Tiffany, she's saying she's tough. I know her. But for everybody there, Go into these Facebook groups almost daily. And I want each of you to commit to just doing 5 and plopping your favorite candidate in some of these groups. Some will get mad, some will throw you out, your post may not get approved. But if we want to take our state back, we need to do something every day. I'm going to give you a real gutsy move even on social media. Oh my God. Go on Nextdoor and just plop a conservative tile up for a candidate in your area. Oh my God, it's full of liberals. Yeah, it is. So what?
All right. I want to interrupt here.
Good luck with that.
We know we made it through the primary. We did great, better than we've done in decades. And yet we're still in a very, very blue state. So I want to hear both you guys give me your predictions for November. Start with the mayoral race. Let's start with Kurt.
Is Kurt running?
Well, it's interesting. Katie Zachariah, who we all know, said that if Pratt made the runoff, that she believed he would win. And what Pratt is doing in his campaign is he's not talking about ideology. He's talking about stepping on feces and needles and stepping over naked homeless when you're taking your kids to the park. Doesn't matter what your political party is. The Democrats have done such a bad job of managing the everyday functions of government that the everyday life is broken in Los Angeles, and everyone is experiencing that. And they can say, well, he's a Republican. Well, that's fine. Then we should campaign on the party that doesn't want naked homeless people attacking your kids, that doesn't want kids castrated, that doesn't want illegal aliens raping your girlfriend or your wife. I'm happy to run on that. And it's going to have an effect, and it's going to have a cumulative effect in this election and beyond, because the Democrats have nothing to offer America that we want.
Okay, so you think that Pratt's going to win in November?
Katie Zachariah knows more than I do, and she says so. I'm an expat from Los Angeles. But I think he can be competitive if he focuses on those quality of life issues. And to Mike's point, when will people get fed up enough? In 1978, people got fed up enough and they voted 2-1 for Proposition 13. In 2024, people got fed up enough and they voted Trump for president. Will people be fed up enough in California and in Los Angeles this year? Mike's point was a great point.
So do you think that if Pratt wins in LA, do you think that'll have an effect on Hilton versus Becerra for governor?
Yes, because as Mike said, the stronghold of Democrat votes by county is in Los Angeles County. Pratt cannot win unless some Democrats vote for him. And if those Democrats vote for Pratt, it may be because they're fed up with quality of life issues, and they're fed up with the price of gas in California, and they're fed up with the crime, and they're fed up with everything. They may have a protest vote. Remember when Prop 13 passed? Republicans, Democrats, everybody voted for it. When Prop 36 passed, people were fed up with crime. What was that, 70-30, Scott?
Yeah, it was
People
2 to
were
1.
fed up. Yeah, people were fed up. So the question is, going back to what Mike said, how fed up are people going to be? And what can we do to get that marginal, low propensity voter out to vote their fed upness?
All right, Mike, give us your best outraged pitch as to why you think Pratt and Hilton are going to win.
I'm going to hedge my bet. I want to make this really clear out there. And everybody out there can yell at me. But unless you listen to what we have to say, Bass is going to win. Sorry. Pratt has the ability to keep the momentum up. But LA turnout right now, I mean, the city, it's even worse. The county is 25%. Okay? That's exactly what happens every time. I want Pratt to win. Pratt is brilliant in the way that he keeps the momentum up. And will people have had enough? Pratt is going to have to keep doing what he's doing for that name recognition to keep people out there, or everybody out there. Bass is going to win. How the hell did, and I want to be really clear on this, okay? Who did Bass beat last time?
Rick Caruso, who's a multi-billionaire.
Correct. He spent
from the University of Southern California.
Okay.
And a Republican.
Spent like 300 million, 100 million on the election. Okay.
No, Caruso switched to Democrat because he's an
I get all that, but he still spent $100 million and he was a Democrat. And he's not a very fun guy. I want Pratt to win. I think Pratt can win. I think Hilton will win for exactly what I'm talking about. Because Hilton has started a movement and it's fun doing this. But a movement, and Scott, I want to be really clear on this. A movement requires participation. Yes, it should. And Tiffany, I see your comment. I want to comment on that. It should push more voters to be fed up. They have to be outraged. They have to be angry. But we have to keep them angry for 5 months. And we have to alert them that this is Bass's fault. This is Newsom's fault. This is the Democrats' fault. Kurt, you said something really important. Shocking. Okay.
Not shocking.
What Pratt is doing is saying the feces you're stepping over that affect your life. Okay. And he's hitting home as a reality TV star. And that's what Hilton is doing. Hilton is talking about issues which affect everybody's everyday life. And he's pointing at the Democrats. It has to keep the heat on. So, Scott, my hope is Hilton and Pratt. I think it will be Hilton. But I'm telling you right now that unless, especially in Los Angeles, keep every day, everybody, 3-4 messages a day. I do 30, 40, 50. I call them posts, call them whatever you want, like we did in the recall every day. And that's an important point because there's a lot of recall people that watch this. The recall, every day we were able to give you how many petitions we brought in so you could see the progress to it getting signed. This election, we don't know until the election comes in. So you're going to have to set your own personal goals. I may be beating the proverbial dead horse here, but my friends, this is a expletive deleted marathon to make those changes in this state.
Well, and there are issues that will happen that may make people even angrier. What happens on July 1st with gas prices and the gas tax in California?
Again.
Up?
Yes, it is, but let's take a step back here. Everything we're saying to everybody watching this show, 100% correct. But can I ask you two fine gentlemen, I mean Scott and Kurt, a really big question here? Okay. How is Bass even in the conversation after half of Los Angeles burned down? Okay. I mean, if that doesn't tick people off and scare them, and by the way, that wasn't that long ago, how is she even still in the conversation? Because
I can answer that. I grew up in Los Angeles. There is an element of the woke left that will vote for a black communist woman because she is a token. She is a figurehead. She's an affirmative action representative. And you mentioned earlier, unions and others, they're part of the Democrat machine, would support Satan himself if he had a D in front of his name. And
yep. And by the way, what Charlie says, yes, there are. By the way, Pratt needs a timeline. Hilton has a timeline. They're all out there. We need to continually remind people of that in chunks. By the way, the Charlie I'm talking to is a very smart conservative and a tough ex-Marine, I believe, if I have that correct, Charlie. Okay. But not everybody is like Charlie. Not everybody is like me. Well, and thank God for that. So again, I'm going to keep beating this. These issues, we know a lot of deep on the show, but we did really well in the primary. We have to get that word out. on a positive thing. And I love Steve's mantra, by the way. Change is coming. Charlie, I hate to break it to you. Swadwell and Betty Yee, who were on the ballot but not even in the race, both got a considerable number of votes. Okay? Right. We don't need to be liked to be effective. That's exactly it. We just, to be effective, need to get those names out. Facebook groups, neighborhood groups, anything you could do. Don't, and I know don't be afraid to talk to people, blah, blah, blah. But that election to take, we are in deep expletive deleted in this state. We have a chance. Gentlemen, I'm going to let you chime in with some talking here.
Well,
Hey,
it's very important to get your neighbors to vote. If they're not going to vote, help them. Sometimes the ballot's a little intimidating. People are busy. They go about their lives. If they're low propensity voters, some will say, well, what difference does my vote make? I can tell you a story about that. There was a fellow named Chris Cox. It was one of 17 members of Congress that ran in 1988. And he was narrowly elected in a 17-person primary in a Republican district, so that meant he won. When he got to Congress, he was the deciding vote to put Newt Gingrich into leadership. Newt Gingrich came up with a contract with America. The Republicans took over the House in 1994 for the first time in 40 years. Because of Chris Cox's one vote, Newt Gingrich got into leadership and then did what he did. One vote matters because you can multiply your vote in the ways that Mike described. You can go on Facebook. You can talk to your neighbors because your vote can multiply to 10 votes, and those 10 votes can multiply to 100, etc. It's all about organization and grassroots. The unions have an advantage, but we have a bigger advantage. We actually care about the substance. We want our children and grandchildren to have a better life than people are going to have in Los Angeles and in California if we don't fix it.
And by the way, in some of these areas, the Democrats are really good. Alpine County has 930 voters. Yes, indeed. That's how many registered voters they have. Why does it matter? Because out of Alpine County comes a representative, okay? And yes, I get it, it's probably red, but it counts. You look at the numbers in many of, and we like to dwell on the big counties. Let's take a look at Plumas County, 13,000 voters. Let's take a look at San Francisco. Only has, punches over its weight, we talk about it, only has 533,000 voters. Let's talk to these individuals where we can make a difference. And by the way, in many of these counties, looking at the registered voters right now, you would be surprised how few there are. And some of the little yelling and echoing that you do can affect some of these races tremendously and then come down, like Kurt says, to that one vote. Gentlemen, I can't believe it's 7:30 already.
Hey, I wanted to chime in. I think you guys are discounting some of the things that are going on as far as, the how much the voters are upset. I mean, we get into the esoteric of it. We need to get out and vote. We need to do that. And like I was showing with our network TV or movie, where I'm as mad as hell, I'm not going to take it anymore. That was back in 1976. Now, that was after the Nixon debacle, the Watergate thing. And, people were fed up with what was going on. I think we've reached the same kind of deal. People like Spencer Pratt point out, they don't want to walk by their playground and have their kids find needles in the sand underneath the playground set. They don't like the guy taking a dump on the sidewalk right underneath their apartment window. They're tired of this little crap.
And we have to keep the rage up. Sorry to interrupt, Scott, but I want to be clear on that.
The outrage. We got to keep it going.
I use that at the beginning of my radio show. I want you to go to your window, open it, step outside, and I'm mad. And I want you to do that every damn day. Not wait for the election to come along. People are angry. They're fed up. We have to keep them. And that's what Pratt is doing a really good job of, in Los Angeles every day. Look, five. You'll have 5 fingers. If you don't, I apologize. If you have 6, join the circus. Most of you have 5 fingers. Each day, think of, have I done 5 to to spread the word out my and tick those and make those people understand that the price of gas, the price, whatever the hell the hot button is, there are so many damn issues. You're right. People have had enough. Good news. They've had enough in this primary. We've made a good showing. But I'm not going to let this be like my Padres or my Chargers. Okay. I want to win it all. I'm tired of making the damn playoffs and getting my posterior
So,
stomped in.
But
So
Mike,
one of the-
Mike, I think the Chargers
one of the things
did a
that
good job in
happened-
the draft, and I think the Chargers are going to be more competitive. And you can have a Rams Chargers Super Bowl in their home stadium this year.
Hey,
Until
come
they
on,
win
come on,
one.
come on. So you know what happened is the electorate was pissed 2 days ago when they voted. And we've got an opportunity now with a Republican in every one of these statewide offices and Spencer Pratt in LA. I think we ratchet it up. I think Spencer Pratt, everybody says, oh, he peaked at just the right time. I go, peaked? My butt, he peaked. He's just getting started. Face it, people are ticked and they're not going to take this crap anymore. And you look at things like Prop 36. Prop 36 was nonpartisan, and it passed what was the final vote? 60-40?
70-30.
So Prop 36, people were tired of crime. And then the governor did nothing. He funded nothing. He did nothing. He even had another budget. He didn't fund any of it. And there wasn't a funding mechanism in Prop 36. So basically, he just flipped off 70% of the electorate. That's why they're kicking out Bass. That's why Becerra's not going to make it. Steve Hilton's going to be our next governor. And we're likely to get 3 or 4 other Republicans statewide because people are tired of this crap. Can I say it any better?
All right, I have a question for you two guys. Let's suppose what Scott just said happens. How will that affect down ballot state races?
It's going to affect them a lot because, again, and actually, we're going to go into that as the next 5 months this election comes. Because here's the thing. Just because people voted doesn't mean they voted on all the offices. We call it the undervote. Just because people voted for Hilton and live in Los Angeles doesn't mean they voted for Pratt. Just because people voted for Pratt doesn't mean they voted for Hilton. I cannot stress that enough. That's why your marketing homework is Pratt, Hilton, Romero. Don't assume the whole ticket drags along. That's what the press and the analysts say. But to your point, Kurt, 1, 2, 10, 20 votes. These Facebook groups, these marketing words, X, just passing out a flyer somewhere, whatever you have to do. The Republican Party getting their posterior out, okay? Yes, and I agree. Prop 50 is backfiring. Everything is going to backfire on the Democrats as long as we keep the heat on. Gentlemen,
Well, and let me add one other thing. If you're in Orange County, North Orange County, Tim Shaw for supervisor, and in South Orange County, Diane Dixon was about 3 points ahead of the liberal, obnoxious Katrina Foley. So
we
do
are going
not
to keep
stop.
posting. And in 37 days, yes, you heard correctly, these will be certified. But your mission right now, it's going to be Hilton and Becerra. It's going to be Pratt and Bass. To quote Prince, party like 1999. Instead, party and market like you already know in 37 days. You know the biggest trick they pull before we leave the show, gentlemen? Is they lull us for 37 days to sleep so we lose interest. That's really the biggest thing. And not us who watch this show necessarily, but the press gets writing about it, the public, the TVs quit talking about it. We're going to go into much which ticks people off. And every week, I commit to you to give you some tip that you can do for the area that you're in to keep the heat on. Prop 50, let's remind those people why they're represented by somebody 1,000 miles away. We have to remind them because they don't know. Gentlemen, help me wind this up so I can try to get out of this alive.
Well, Mike, do you have any last comments on the hazardous waste problem in Orange County and Garden Grove? I was at the Angels game that night and it was only 5 miles away. Apparently, there's some issues with the cleanup and leaks of toxic chemicals.
My biggest issue is, again, remind people somewhere in government, Republican or Democrat, somebody didn't do their job. Government's main job is to keep expletive like stuff like this from happening. How the hell did a big vat of chemicals with that kind of whatever that actually got fined like $500,000 or whatever the heck it was about a year ago continue to operate? It is no different
In a residential neighborhood.
no different than the Palisades having a reservoir that's empty, and that one turned out worse. It is government's job to keep us safe and do disaster prevention. And we made a big deal of that disaster, which actually didn't happen. And praise God for that. But here we
Hey,
go.
you know, it's again, they're not able to make the trains run on time. They can't keep us safe from toxic chemicals. They can't put out a fire when they need to put out a fire. They certainly can't build a high-speed train. The list is endless. And so
You're getting
are
headaches.
we going to be mad as hell and not going to take it anymore or not?
There
All right,
go.
you guys. Next
Everyone-
week,
Next week, we're going to
6:30.
continue. By the way, if you have something, you're getting migraines or something, DM me on X. I answer every message. It was a blessing for all of you that came up to me and said, thank me for that. Make sure we are here to help. We are a movement of the people of California. And the next election began 48 hours ago. It's our damn state. And every day in this revolutionary movement, California Free Radio will be there weekly. I'll be there daily. And it takes nothing. 5. Every day, do 5 little things to get the word out. We can back our damn state.
All right, and
Thank
Mike,
you.
before we go, tell us the site where people can donate because Mike is doing a very cost-effective social media campaign, and that money will be spread a long way. What is that site, Mike?
Good point. It's netter.vote. And for those of you, it's not DOT, it's netter.vote. You could go to my site. Please, thank you, Kurt. Throw me if I'm running this on fumes, doing what I can do. My posture is on the line because I'm doing this because I care. Thank you. Netter.vote. I am now official, well, not officially, but 99.9999 in November. Netterger November, as you saw in Netter News today. Let's take back our state. Thank you.
All right, you guys.
Next week, we'll see you then.
They said trust the experts while they locked up the town. Gave us
Three
12
Stooges
more
and a fourth.
genders. Took our paychecks down. Flag on the porch. They call you
Who's the
extreme while they cash big checks and scream on your screen. Tear up the script like it's 1776. Hey, hey. They're allergic to bricks and sticks. All bark, blue check, big talk, no
there's
grit.
that.
We the ones they can't censor or fix. Oh, sing it loud, that's the trick. Red, white, and really annoyed as